First, though, is the government wrong to let council taxes rise again? I'd love your calls on this. 0207862 2222. Downing Street has said councils in England will be allowed to raise bills by up to 5% to help local authorities cope with rising costs. The increase is 3 times the current inflation rate, 1.7%, and comes despite Angela Rayner claiming council taxes wouldn't be increased just 2 months ago. For the average-sized household in Band D, it means a family would pay an extra £110 a year. Justified, Yasmin?
Well, it's complicated, isn't it? I think the Tories, we know, this is a fact, this is in my opinion, actually did not let councils put up the tax for quite a long time. They had severe restrictions, and Labour should never have said we're never going to raise tax. They made these statements, which I'm sure they regret. It has to happen. Having said that, I also think that councils have been quite abysmal with their finances, and sometimes I wonder, where I live, most of the social housing has been sold off and turned into very expensive flats.
Of course.
So what's happened to that money?
It's been spent on probably old people's homes.
We don't know. There is so much anxiety and actually quite a lot of anger about what our council is doing with that cash.
Really? I see. Well, that's interesting. I mean, I just assume that councils are just so strapped. That's the thing, because the government says it's your job to do this, to do the schools. You've got to do the old people's homes.
That's
You've
why I'm
got to do
saying
social care.
I've got two positions on
so
this.
they've just got, yeah, well, exactly. So I don't know. What do you think?
I don't have two positions on this. I think that firstly, they were allowed over recent years, I think, to go up to about 3%. They were allowed to put the council tax up by, which they have every single time. My local authority has always put up council tax, as has here in London, the London portion of that under Sadiq Khan. All of these councils have no justification to put up any of these council taxes if they are wasting money. Now, if they are efficiently run, and at the end of that, they say, right, we've run out of money, perfect, then you have a justification. But when they spend hundreds of thousands, so many of them, on salaries, on ridiculous schemes. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it, Jeremy, you know it's my trigger phrase, low traffic neighbourhoods, which cost a fortune to implement, consultations, which cost thousands, which are ignored. My local council put a load of bollards up, and each bollard cost £13,000.
I would pay £14,000. I love bollards. If I could if loving bollards is wrong, I don't want to be right.
Well, you're not right, because I'm afraid if you are a council, you have core services that you need to carry out. Now,
£13,000 isn't going to pay for one child.
Well, when there are hundreds of bollards, it's not just one bollard. Well, this was around a park actually, but this is
I think you're right that there has been a lot of wastage and some really dodgy accounting. I think we do need oversight.
Which was there was a council, director will tell you, a council which invested its money in some racket and lost a lot, and they've gone bankrupt. And it's not the only one. And they were, I think it was a wind farm project that they put their money into wacky things. They did it when Thurrock Council, thank you, Director Dan, and when the Iceland banks went down, it turned out half the local councils had put money in. They're gambling with the money.
But in praise of local authorities as well, remember what they do. I mean, all the cleaning, all the facilities.
You get people complaining.
We kind of hardly notice.
You actually have people who are angry about things called low-traffic neighbourhoods.
I find that ridiculous. I find that ridiculous.
Angry about that?
When the council is in debt, that I would argue is not a priority. When you have a council like mine, which is £1 billion in debt, right, and they have the worst housing record in the country. I'm not going to name the council, but they've got one of the worst housing records. The Housing Ombudsman has had to write to them 3 times. I would argue that there are priorities to spend money on over and above consultations, bollards, high salaries, and absolute nonsense.
Okay.
At the moment, can I just say they've reduced bin collections to once a fortnight because of the climate emergency.
Yeah, but it's happening.
Meaning that there is fly tipping everywhere. We are paying more and getting less.
You're lucky because South Gloucester's
Christo, I agree with you about the wastage and the high salaries. Children are suffering from asthma in our urban areas at levels that never happened before.
Exactly.
A child died of pollution. And there was a case, do you remember? I can't remember her name, somewhere in South London.
Kissy Deborah, yeah.
We need to be looking after the environment for our children.
Do you know what? I don't disagree with that, but I'm sorry. Just deciding to reduce collecting my bin as a facade for that is outrageous.
It's the bollards and reducing traffic in these neighbourhoods is an important thing.
Ella, so just on a couple of facts, it was Ella Kissy Deborah, and her death was
whose mother is against low traffic neighbourhoods, by the way.
Yeah, but it was officially a pollution death. That's a historic thing. And Thurrock, Thurrock is not a big council. £1.5 billion they lost.
And Birmingham went bust, didn't it?
They went bust because they consistently underpaid their female employees and they kept losing cases and they never learned. Peter in Wolverhampton, is £100 rise on average justified?
Absolutely. I mean, if you had a private bin collection, to mention the gentleman's point, it would cost $2,000 a year. I've looked into this to have your bin privately collected, which is the whole cost of most people's council tax just for the bin collection. So it's worth every penny.
Okay, I'll do that then, and I'll save on my council tax. I'll give them nothing. Great.
Well, hang on.
That'd be okay.
But his point is, your council tax, if it just paid for the bins, it'd be worth it.
So I don't think that they're doing a good enough service, and also that would be one. I'd like to see the economies of scale on that, because that would be collecting one person's bin. If I were to go to that company and say, right, can you collect the bins of all the streets around me? I better get it for less than $2,000 a year.
Let me just tell you something. In some states in America, they said we're going to privatise bin collection, and you know what happened? They had 5 firms in the little towns, all competing. Can you imagine the impact on traffic if you privatise bin collection and you have all different firms doing it? You've got 5 vans, dumpers, duster trucks in your road every day. Thank you, Peter. Good point, though. It's like, OK, maybe it's worth it just for the bins, if they can turn up and collect them. How are you, Sharon?
Hello, good morning all.
We might make it, this might be 5 in a row. I don't think anyone's ever had a full house. Get on tomorrow and we'll have streamers.
Okay.
All right? So what do you want to say?
Right. Jeremy, my argument is that I'm talking about myself here, why should my council tax be going up to foot other people's social care bills? Why is that? No, this is completely unfair, really.
Listen, I sort of agree with you, because I think it's really annoying to pay for other people's education and so on. And then somebody said to me, right, so you are against street lighting if you're spending the night in. That's the logic, Sharon. You don't want roads lit unless you're walking down them.
No, but Jeremy, what I'm talking about, paying for other people's social care.
But it's how society works, isn't it? I mean, don't we...
No, Jeremy, it's not wrong. It's not my responsibility. That is the government's responsibility, not mine, not from my council tax. This is completely wrong and unfair. And the worst thing about it, the government waste so much money, these councils. So much money's wasted. Yeah,
we know. Well, if you just watch the palaver over repairing a pothole would be an example. We probably agree on that.
Yeah.
It just takes so long and then it's not done properly.
I mean, Sharon's second point is entirely justifiable. The first point is not, because there is such a thing as society.
Yeah, you're obviously coming out as a Thatcherite today, because Thatcher identified all the same problems as you, and her response was to say, we'll do it all privately. And it'll be done better.
We'll get our own bin collector. He'll get his own.
Well,
Timothy, I'll get my own street lamp.
Yeah, the 5 bin lorries is a problem.
Or we go for the other solution, which she came up with, which was perfect, which was the poll tax. And each individual person over 18 gets a bill for the council services that they use. That was the fairest policy that we have had in
What about that, Sharon? Bring back the poll tax so everyone pays the same. And they always said a dustman should pay the same as a duke.
No, that's a good idea, actually, Cristo. I love Cristo. I watch him all the time. I think that's a fantastic idea. Everybody should be paying their own bills.
Yeah,
I really do.
All right.
Thank
you, Sharon.
One person in one household pays one bill. If there are 4 adults in the household next door, they pay 4 times because they use 4 times the services.
And that's why the poll tax revolts happened. That's why Thatcher had to give in, because it was such a brilliant idea that's why it worked so well.
Ideologically perfect, and it just didn't work because you had, someone who was 26 living in, a northern suburb of Manchester, paying £500 a year, and it's the same amount paid by a family of 6 in a mansion.
Yeah,
It was
same
a
amount.
dumb
It doesn't
and
make
horrible
sense.
idea,
All right.
and
After-
it went because it was such a dumb idea.
After the break,
Brilliant.
we're taking. Well, I thought you were drifting towards it for a second.
No, that's him.
Okay. No. Okay.
No.
Is it fair for the
me.
government to let councils increase your council tax by over? Is it wrong to let council taxes rise again? That's what we're discussing. But we had a big debate here already. Michael in Suffolk, is yours going to go up? Your council tax?
Yes, good morning, Jeremy. Yes, I wanted to correct the information one of your panellists has said that council taxes haven't gone up by the Conservatives. Well, my council tax goes up every year, and mine's going to go up by 150 to 200 pounds a year. I'm a pensioner. I've had my winter fuel allowance taken away. Where am I supposed to get this extra money from?
Are you? I mean, I just think, is it a valuation of your house that's the problem here? That they think you're in a mansion or something, or what?
Well, this is it. I'm in a chalet bungalow, 3-bedroom chalet bungalow in Suffolk, and I'm paying nearly £2,500 council tax.
That's a lot
Michael,
of
can
money.
I ask, was there a period when there was a cap put by the government?
Yes, they put up 3.5% increase cap.
So yeah, because
Okay.
The cap was on
I
the
stand
not
corrected.
all rises, but
Yeah.
but
Thank
also,
you.
of course, that cap was in existence during a time of rampant inflation. So the councils got into trouble because they were spending a lot more than they were taking in. But so if you say to the council, Michael, what's this money for? Do they give you a straight answer?
No, they won't give you any answer at all. Let's just say, well, I'm going to spend it. But I mean, also, I've got to spend £5,000 in the next month or two for a new oil burner.
Yeah.
I mean, where am I supposed to get it? It's okay to say we could have heat exchange units. It's going to cost me £25,000 to £30,000 for a heat exchange unit in my house.
Yeah. So I see. So the oil burner's the old-fashioned type, and they deliver oil to you once a month or something, do they?
Well, once a year. I have
Okay.
1,000 litres a year, and that lasts me a year.
Amazing. Well, listen, I'm sorry. It sounds like you're on the edge a bit there, Michael. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much. Take care. Kathleen in the West Midlands, can you take this rise if it comes in?
No, I'm going to tell you we're not getting value for money as it is now. Also, in my area, they have now cut 4 day centres in the last 9 months for people with learning disabilities. There is only one youth centre left open out of 60. They're also
60,
the
they
roads
closed-
and the pavements.
Right.
They have not. I mean, my council's bankrupt.
Well, hang on.
they-
Just let me ask a question. They've closed 59 youth centres. Are you part of this
Yes, they
Birmingham?
have closed.
You're West Midlands.
Sorry.
Are you part of this Birmingham thing?
I am part of Birmingham. I'm actually not far from. I don't live far from Birmingham City Council. They have closed in this last year. Well, not this last year. This last few months, people have lost their places. The council do say that they will get other places, but they will go to overcrowding, and that is not safe. So altogether, over the years, they have closed nearly all the day centres for people with adults learning disabilities. But in this last few months, 4 day centres have gone. There is only one youth centre.
Yeah.
Only one youth centre now, where there used to be 60.
Okay.
The roads and the pavements are absolutely dreadful.
What if, Kathleen, if you rang the council
Sorry.
and you said all this down the phone, what if the council said, listen up, Kathleen, we're spending nearly all the money on care homes for old people because everyone in this country now lives to be 93.
Well,
Nobody
can I
saw it coming.
say- Can I say that I worked for Birmingham City Council for 39 years, and I have seen closures of day centres before now, but now the day centres I used to work at many years ago, that was closed.
Yeah.
There are now new houses standing where that day centre was, and over the years, both governments have closed day centres.
Okay, all right,
This
thank you.
year-
I've got it. Thank you so much. I just want to go to Raymond in Norfolk. Raymond, do you think people should pay this rise willingly?
I wish to correct the comment made by your lady that the sale of local authority went to the local authority. It did not.
Good point.
It went to central government
Yeah,
in
good
Margaret Thatcher's era, and she used that to increase the amount of police officers, etc., which is a good thing.
Good point. Yeah, but it's
that's
just
where
it's
the
money that.
went.
The thing is, it was a one-off windfall the government got, and what they should have done, we now realise. I mean, it's easy 40 years on, is to say we're going to put the money into building new homes, council homes, but they didn't do that, Raymond. That's the problem.
And the new homes they do build, the new homes
They didn't have the money because it was taken from them by central government. Not the local authority.
The government had to say. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, but the new homes, that was the Thatcher era. But in recent years, they've sold off social housing, not to on the right to buy stuff, but to developers who have now created, £1 million flats, 2-bedroom flats near where I live, which very few can afford to buy. So it means that people who need social housing have to be shipped off somewhere else.
Yeah, but it sounds like, Raymond, you kind of thought the policy was a good one, did you?
Yes and no, but I realise that obviously it financed Margaret Thatcher's years of power. I mean, that went on for many years, the sale of right to buy. All the money did not go to the local authority.
Oil in the North
Sea. It went to central government, which means it was not spent locally.
Yeah.
And the local authority did not have that income to make use of.
All right. Thank you,
Good.
Raymond. Thanks so much. Thank you for all your calls. Very interesting. When we talk about local councils, we get so many calls because everyone's got a beef.